Welcome back, everyone, to another Kerbal Space Program video. Actually the second Kerbal Space Program video on my YouTube channel. Um, and today's Kerbal Space Program video is not like the first one. This is not a tutorial. This is just a mission that if you really have nothing to do, you can just watch this pretty fun mission if I do say so. But one thing that I want to say before we talk about it, if you guys have any suggestions or like for future missions or what I'm thinking is for this space station, if you guys have any suggestions for modules, leave them down in the comments. And it really helps me out if I have no ideas for any videos. It's always good to have some suggestions from you guys because I know what you guys want to see. And it really, like I said, it really does help me out. But anyway, talking more about what's happening on screen. This is pretty much just a basic space station. I put, I think, 5 cupola modules up top. Some pretty good cruise capacity. 5 is pretty large for a space station, but it's good enough. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm actually constructing some solar panel arrays. But what's different about these? If you notice, I have regular size docking ports and junior size docking ports. And the reason for this is sometimes when I send up my spacecraft or my space stations and I go to dock the solar panels, they'll be rotated really weirdly and they won't be aligned, and it just doesn't look that good. So I developed this method that just helps you align them better. And you can see later in the video that when I'm docking them, it actually really does help to keep them aligned. But if you saw just there, I was adding those probe cores because once these solar panels are stowed away, they're going to be stowed away vertically, so they don't take up a lot of fairing space. I actually don't even think there's a fairing big enough to fit that. So, yeah, we have to stow them vertically. We really don't have a choice. But what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to save the solar panel arrays into a separate craft file. But it would have been really difficult to do that. I don't know any other way besides rebuilding them from scratch in a new craft file. And I really don't want to go through all the work of realigning the junior docking ports and stuff. So you'll see in a minute what I ended up doing is I just ended up attaching them vertically to those junior size docking ports. One thing I do want to mention is that if you're building a space station like this, try to make sure that you are being very mindful of your fairing space, because I built space stations where they're super massive and the fairings are just oddly sized and you can't really make them pointy at the top without making it super long and then becomes unbalanced, and it's just much harder. So just try and be mindful of your fairing space. It's really worth it in the end. It makes the ship so much easier to fly. But yeah, so this was actually a really fun thing to build, this space station. It was a bit of an engineering task, trying to figure out these solar panels and just making sure everything fits. That's pretty much the main struggle I had, and you can see that I had to rotate them and use the offset tool quite a bit to get them to fit, using the least amount of space possible. But yeah, I've finally managed to get them to fit. And you can see here, I was just constructing the fairing, and that fairing is actually under a skipper stage. And skipper, if you watched my Munch tutorial mission, it's actually a really good engine, especially since we're going to be in the vacuum of space where there's no atmosphere. It's going to be really powerful, just to give us that final boost into orbit. And what I was doing there was I was just making sure that all the solar panels would detach, because I don't want to get into orbit, get everything set, and then not have my solar panels detach. That would be pretty bad. But yeah, and then I was just finishing up the build. I have a Rhino stage with a medium-sized fuel tank. I'm pretty sure that's a 3.5 meter diameter for the Mammoth and Rhino, and the Mammoth was used for the main stage here. And yeah, now we're moving on to the launch. So you can see the launch, pretty standard in the beginning, but it was a bit tricky because it was a fairly top-heavy payload. Fairly top-heavy rocket. So if I tilted it horizontally too much, it would have undoubtedly fallen over. So I had to pretty much keep 45 degrees the whole way up until I broke through most of the atmosphere. Yeah, and you can see there I just detached the mammoth stage, and the rhino stage got us out of the atmosphere. There goes the fairing, and yep, here we are. So you can see I raised my apoapsis to about 200 kilometers, and now I'm just using the maneuver node maker to plan my periapsis, which is going to be also at 200 kilometers. I like to aim for a pretty high orbit for space stations. I just think, especially when you need to dock a new part, it's much easier to rendezvous if that part's orbit is smaller, because it's much easier to catch up to the space station. But yeah, now we are executing the orbit burn, and there goes the rhino stage, and now I'm just using the skipper stage to give us that final push, and now we're in orbit. All right, so far everything's going great. And I actually did not add a decoupler, and if you did not know, you just have a docking port, you could just use the docking port as a decoupler, except it will not be in the staging stack on the left side. But yeah, here I'm attaching the solar panel arrays, and the method that I use is actually, credit goes to Matt Lowne. You should really check out his channel. He produces great content, but I'll explain how it works for you. Basically, you control one ship, you click on the docking port that you're docking with, you set control from here, and then on the docking port you're docking to, you set that as target, and then set the target marker on your nav ball, and then you switch to the other ship. In this case, it's the space station, and do the same exact process. And your solar panel array and your space station, in this case, will stay perfectly aligned all the way through, and it will just glide together. And you can actually see those docking ports. I don't know what happened there, but they, for some reason, did not dock. But a quick puff with the RCS, and they went into place. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole mission. Right here, I'm just getting a screenshot for the thumbnail. But if you do like this video, leave a comment saying you liked it, leave a thumbs up, and also if you enjoy the content that I've been producing so far, please hit the subscribe button. It would mean so much to me. I'm trying to get that number up. Right now, at the time of recording this video, I'm at 11. But we're gonna try and get better. But that's all for the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.